Tybo.
What's going on?
Hell of a year, buddy.
Thank you. Thank you.
That's, I mean, you've had one outstanding year. I want to talk about the tournament up at Kentucky Lake, but let's go back to, I want to go back to a year ago. I think you said you wanted to start at the Clark Hill tournament at the Skeeter Challenge tournament. It was cold. It was down in the teens.
Miserable cold.
And probably should have called it, but we didn't. We fished it. And how'd you do down there?
I think we ended up 7th that day, but the reason I wanted to start there was that just helped me mentally for the rest of the year. Every time we fished a cold tournament, especially up there at Kentucky Lake last week, I said, man, it could always be colder.
His dad fished with him at Kiwi. They finished second. They were top finishing Skeeter. $7,000 cash. Okay, so they get the money, we're all good. Anyway, we was going to put him in a new FX boat. So I got his ZX, brought it down here. We were detailing it. So he said, I got a guy trip. I need to come get my boat. I said, that's cool, come get your boat. Well, my two detailers over here, my two little detailers, they took all his stuff out of his boat, whatever. So anyway, he come to get his boat. And I said, Shorty, where's all the stuff you took out? He said, well, I got it over here. So he went and got the stuff, come back and set it on Tyler's boat. There was the envelope on top, $7,000 cash. I said, Shorty, where'd that money come from? He said, man, it was in Tybo's boat. So his dad was here. Tyler wasn't here. His dad was here, and his dad flipped out, That little friggin', left that money in that boat, $7,000 in the day box. I said, whoa, wait a minute, Jason. I said, you was in the boat with him. You just as at fault as he is. So anyway, it was a funny little joke that wasn't really a joke. That's a lot of money.
That was a nice little surprise to have at the end of the year.
$7,000 cash, and didn't even know he had it. But that's the thing about those Skeeter Challenge tournaments, man. If you're in a Skeeter, it pays out.
Jumping ahead to August, had the College National Championship on our home lake there at Hartwell. Me and Parker Guy, we ended up having a second place finish there. I can't lie, it was a good tournament, but it was an absolute heartbreaker. We had the lead after the second day. We came in with our biggest bag of the week the last day, and Lander University came in with a giant stringer of fish, and they just beat us fair and square. Man, it was an absolute heartbreaker. It's been a trend in my life here lately, getting second place finishes, but it was nice to get the monkey off our back with this right here. We ended up getting a win at Murray this year in September for the South Carolina BFL. So, yeah, it's been a good year. But, man, the second place in the team championship and ended up winning the fish off, man, that was a good way to get the monkey off the back. I felt like the weight of the world was lifted off of my shoulders.
Yeah, you finished second. You finished second a bunch, but you kept your head screwed on straight.
We finished second in this event at Hartwell 2 years ago. So, man, it was familiar territory. I was getting a little fed up with it. Like I said, it was nice to finally get in the winner's circle for once. Just felt like a lot of relief.
Yeah, 2 second teams and 1 second individual, and then you won it this year.
Yep. Felt good.
Bassmaster Classic, baby.
I can't even wrap my mind around it. It's like it hadn't even set in yet. It's a dream come true.
You, I took you down to Zoom. We sat down there and talked to Eddie Chambers, Eddie Wortham, Chris Baxter, and I know I was down there yesterday. They're behind you 100%, and I know you got
that right there, 5-inch wing zoom fluke. This right here was the money maker all week. I threw 2 different sizes. We had really, really windy conditions the first day of the tournament and the fish off day. So when that wind was blowing, I had to jump up to a 1/4 ounce head. That's a greenfish, BLS, bad little shad head, and a 1/4 ounce. That's a Tennessee shad pattern on the head, and that's a 5-inch zoom wing fluke and Tennessee shad pattern on the minnow there. That's the same old jig head minnow.
Now, I've talked to Junior about that, and I talked to Wortham. Why is the wing fluke better than the regular fluke?
Okay, so you see those wings on there?
I know what it is.
That thing rocks back and forth, and that was when you're shaking that thing. That's the trick to getting those, especially up there at Kentucky and anywhere on the Tennessee River. That was the trick to getting them to bite and fully commit to the bait. That thing rocking back and forth. It's just got a little bit different action than what they're used to. They hop on it.
That's exactly what Wortham told me. He said when it falls, it rocks. It just don't fall like a regular.
That's a Fenwick World Class 1, 7'1" medium action rod, spinning rod. That's a Abu Garcia Revo Rocket 30 size spinning reel. Having the rocket on there seemed to be really important because when those smallmouth would come up and bite it, they'd knock the fire out of it and go straight back down to the bottom. So I had to pick up a lot of line and get tied on them really fast. My second combo this week, the second day of the tournament, we ended up having our biggest bag, 23.9. It was dead slick that day. No wind, no waves, so I could bump back down to a lighter head. It seemed like the lightest I could get away with was better. So that's an 1/8 ounce head there. Same bait, 5-inch winged fluke and Tennessee shad. It seemed like a little bit lighter head with a more finesse approach on those slick days. That was the best way to get the bite. But yeah, definitely the money maker. Same rod setup, 7'1" World Class Fenwick. I've got that one paired with a Xenon X from Abu Garcia. And another really important thing for me this week was this leader line on here. That's 10-pound Berkeley Trilene, 100% fluorocarbon. I was fishing around some nasty stuff, big rocks, big stumps. I never broke a fish off, fished clean all week. And that leader, good strong line was really, really important to be able to get those fish out of there in them nasty places.
And you had all smallmouth. You ever catch a largemouth?
I weighed in one largemouth. Funny story about that. That was kind of a bonus fish. So the first day of the tournament, like I said, that was 100% a day that we probably should not have been out there on the water fishing. Wind was blowing 20 miles an hour. 4 and 5 foot roller waves going down the river. I took a left out of Paris Landing, got a mile down the lake, and I took one over the front. I was soaking wet. Got another 2 or 3 miles down there and took another one over the front. So I was just absolutely freezing cold and soaking wet. So I ran on down and got to the area of the lake that I wanted to fish in. I knew I was going to spend my day in. So me and my partner Blake, we pulled into a pocket so we could change clothes, you know, get warm a little bit, put my hands in my pockets and warm up and try to just reset for a minute and calm myself down. And I got done changing clothes, warmed up a little bit, and I was about to pull out of the pocket to go out there and get back in the waves and fight and fish for those smallmouth. And I just so happened to turn my trolling motor up to the bank, and there's a big old stump sitting up there on the bank, and there's a fish sitting in the top of it. I'm like, okay. So I picked up my jerk bait, Berkeley Stunner 112 in the hanky-panky color. It's a white opaque color with an orange belly. I fired it up there, boom, caught a 4-pound largemouth. Only largemouth I caught all week. And I was like, okay, well, that's a good way to set the tone for the week. Maybe we might be able to do this. And then put that one in the box, went out there to the main lake, and somehow, some way proceeded to catch 4 4-pound smallmouth, and that was it for the day.
That's crazy. One largemouth. You know, I got Stallnecker's boat, Brad Stallnecker's boat next door. I picked it up yesterday. He was up there with y'all and tore the bottom of it out.
It was nasty up there. There ain't no doubt about that.
Whatever, but we're going to fix it. So let's talk about the Skeeter and Yamaha a little bit. You've been in a ZX the whole time. We put you in an FX this time. Just tell me about the boat and your electronics and whatever.
I can promise you one thing. There is not another boat I would have wanted to be in this week. It was some of the roughest waves that I've ever ran in personally. I mean, like I said, we had a 20-mile-an-hour dead south wind 2 days, and we were fighting 4 foot, 5 foot waves all day, and that thing handled like a champ. It got me there and back. I never got wet unless I took that one over the front, but like I said, that was probably my fault a little bit for not paying as good as attention as I probably should have. Yeah, no, kept the nose up high and ran all the way back. Everything performed flawlessly. Canyon Fog rigs my boat out every year with all my electronics. Everything did a top-notch job. David Nettles over there in Anderson.
I got to go see him tomorrow. I got 2 trolling motors. I got to go get him to
go see him for any of your trolling motor needs.
He's good on electronics.
Absolutely. All my graphs run flawlessly this week. One thing that did make a big deal for me this week was with my Lowrance. That CMAP map card, I've got the CMAP reveal in there. I put my shadings in there and it made those bars pop. And it highlighted that depth zone where those current breaks in were at. I probably would not have been able to find that stuff without that stuff. It really made it pop out on the map to me.
Yeah, he tuned mine in. I got a 16 back here. He tuned mine in with those shades in it, And my grandson Easton's like, holy crap, look what Tybo done, you know. He shaded all this stuff, you know, so he thinks the sun rises in you, buddy.
I don't know about all that.
Well,
but
you just, you know, you're a mentor to all these guys that want to get there, and so next year you're gonna hop out on the opens again.
Yes, sir. I'm gonna fish both divisions of the Bassmaster Opens. We're gonna fish the Classic in March, and the ultimate goal is to try to make the Classic again and try to get a spot on the Bassmaster Elite Series.
So that's what your dreams are.
Absolutely. That's been the goal from day one.
Look at Emil and look at Paul Marks.
That's right.
You know, and y'all all come up together. Y'all,
absolutely.
You know, this forward-facing crap. You hear people talking about, oh, it's bad for the sport or whatever. My grandson, if I can get him in a boat without sitting there playing video games, how can that be bad?
Absolutely.
You know?
It can't be a bad thing.
And I've been out there with you before. I know it's friggin' awesome.
It is. It can be magical when you know when to use it and how to apply it.
Well, that's the thing that, even like my grandson, he thinks he can catch everything on the fluke, you know, and I try to, that's why I set him up with you to go, and Alex Prince has taken him, just show him what to do when the fish are setting up like this.
Right.
You know, and it's like you telling me that head, that greenfish head is the only head you could get them to really bite on. It's crazy. I never would have thought of that. I would have thought, you know, they'd just bit any head.
Yeah.
I'm proud of you, and I know Jason, his dad, is
over the world.
Fucking livid, buddy.
Oh,
He's friggin' out there. And I'm proud of you too, you know. So you're gonna go to Texas next week, you said?
Yeah, I think we're gonna try to sneak out there and get a little bit of pre-practice time in. Get some tracks around the lake. There's a lot of big trees and stuff in that place, so I'm gonna go put my eyeballs on it.
Yeah, you can't talk about the lake, you know, because it's already been announced, and that's Bass Rules, and we understand that. But man, if you have half as good a year next year as you had this year,
we'll be all right.
I know Chris and Jareth and all of them at Skeeter they're over the moon. You know, they're glad you're in a Skeeter, and you know I'm glad you're in there.
Absolutely. So. I want to thank you, Mr. David. I want to thank you, Mr. David, Mr. Nathan here at Boating Atlanta, Jareth Bain, Chris Brown at Skeeter. Man, I'm just blessed. We go into the Bassmaster Classic, baby.
I hear you.
Thank you, David.
Yes, sir. That's